All right, what's up, Brandon, man? Welcome to the Dark Waters.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Well, cool, man. I'm excited to talk to you. Excited you reached out to me. I've seen your products. I haven't invested in one yet, but it's been on my to do list for the upcoming season. But before we really get into this, man, you mind like just kind of introducing yourself, just kind of like who you are, what you do, and just simple stuff like that.
Yeah, so obviously Brandon Elrod with Kayak Kushion, which falls under Kushion Kompany, since we're going to start launching some other products. Um, this is kind of turned into more of a full-time, half-time with the day job, the 9 to 5er. So that's kind of a long story short, in Chattanooga, right next to Chickamauga Dams, we're located. Entire products made here. So, made in the great USA.
Nice. Now, I take it you're an avid fisherman and you fish out of a kayak.
I did a lot more before I launched this product. That's for sure. I know everyone says that once you work in the industry, some
Yeah, I was actually gonna say that. I mean, you say like everyone's trying to find their niche, and everybody wants to be in the industry, and then like once they get in there, they realize that like what they loved about fishing, like they don't have time to do it anymore because they're too busy trying to either create content, build a product, or whatever else. But it becomes less about fishing and becomes more of like a job.
Yeah, as you hear on all these podcasts and interviews and everything, it's you fished a lot more. It's this product's it's really taken off, and we've enjoyed it, which is always a great problem to have. But yeah, I mean, I try to fish different species. I fished a couple BOSs, and it's a great trail, and try to fish a couple more. But I try to fish every local event we have here in TVK. So I try to do that more. So I like the 1 day tournaments. It's a lot easier to, have a social life and, keep to do things that way, keep everyone happy. So
yeah, my wife likes those 1 day tournaments as well too.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I come home and try not to fall asleep and like on the couch. That's usually what I try to do. So yeah, it's I do. I like to crappie fish this time of year. That's probably my favorite species to chase. Actually, it's light tackle. Obviously you can have a fish fry. So yeah, it's
right.
I'm located obviously in one of the biggest backyards. I'm right now I can hit a golf ball to the Tennessee River, so it's a good problem to have.
Now, do you know any of all the Tennessee kayakers over there, like the Lamberts and the all of them?
Yeah. We made a special Yak Addicts edition for Lambert. That was the first custom edition I did. Actually, we created the Yak Addicts logo. Stayed with him at Seminole. So Steve Owens lives about 5 minutes from me, and Christine lives about 30 minutes up the road, and AJ McCorder, he lives over here too. And yeah, there's everyone seems to be moving to this area more and more.
Right.
Tactical bass and left California to come out here. So
well, you fish out of a vibe, right?
no, I fish out of a Hobie.
Okay, did you fish out of a vibe? Because I was creeping on your Instagram, and I was curious how because no, that's all I hear. Like Ryan Lambert talk shit about the vibe guys.
Yeah, it's I kind of cut my teeth early in the industry with them. They have great price point and recreational products, and I still have a couple of Mavericks that we do the float down the Tennessee on. Paddleboard wise, it's probably one of my favorite boats that I've had. On the back of the truck, if you want to do a fun float and drink beer with some buddies and
Right.
not just fish, but I'm actually in a PA 360 blue one.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah, that's what I fish out of. Yeah.
Well, did you actually go down to Seminole? Did you fish down while you were down in Seminole?
I did first day. Got down there, didn't really pre-fish. Saturday was brutal. White capping. Had some bass boats checking on me out there at the middle of the lake because no one crossed the lake where I did.
Right.
They were rolling like threes, and I had my fun, and was out of it. So I said I'm driving 6 hours back to Chattanooga, and I'm good. I was out of it. I never fished Seminole. It's always been on a bucket list, and it's tough conditions, but obviously it wasn't that tough.
Right.
I mean, that was incredible. Just to say I was part of someone catching 205 inches in 2 days that's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw those numbers. I'm like, I mean, like if you go off like what, like it should, I thought it was gonna be tough fishing. I guess it was tough fishing for a lot of people, but the ones who found them, like, god damn, they found them.
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, I look at my phone just to see if I wanted a ramp jump, and I looked down and it said 98 inches at like 9:30. I was like, I'm good. This is. I'll probably go back and stay at the cabin and stay up too late with Lambert and Nick Dyer and Dylan Lowry. We were all in the cabin together. So,
right.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think about all this weather, man? Like Tennessee's a little bit colder than what it's used to. Well, I guess today it's a little bit more tolerable, but a little bit cold this past weekend, huh?
Yeah, well, it's funny because Nashville got a bunch of snow, Memphis got a bunch of snow, obviously Texas got what they got, and nothing here. I didn't get. All I got was a little sleety mix outside, but no snow. So I mean, we're in the valley. I mean, it got cold. I mean, I'd rather it snow when it's that cold. If it's going to be miserable, I'd rather it snow. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I like crappie fishing. It's great crappie weather, but bass, it's just striped bass. But no, I don't mind the cold, to be honest. It's nice to have seasons. I don't want it to be 95 all year round. I know everyone wants, grass to be up throwing a frog all day, but I like having seasons here.
No, I agree. Like, I mean, I'm originally from Florida, so I know all I know is hot. If I was ever to go back down to the South, I live in New York now. If I was ever to go back down to the South, it would have to be in a place like Tennessee or something like that. Those northern, like North Carolina areas that it's got some of like those rocky terrains, and like you get a little bit of the seasons. You may not get like the harsh winter like I'm going through right now, but you get some like good like variables and like in an actual 4 seasons. So I mean, it sucks. Like Panama City, Florida, it would go from like a little bit of winter to like nice spring, and then everything just dies. Like all that green, trees and grass, it just dies because it's so hot. And I just remember trying to get into a pool to cool off, and I came out of the water sweating.
Yeah, that sounds miserable. And you can keep the New York winters. That's a whole nother cold that
don't you want a smallmouth?
Where I'm at, I'm very happy with the smallmouth bite that's south of Chickamauga Dam. So you can keep it. I love that idea, but no, not that coldness up there. That's a whole nother level of misery.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Like I get jealous. It is that weird when you look down south and you see what's going on in Seminole, and I saw what happened at Watts Bar, and then in Florida, and like all these people, like their seasons are started, and I'm like, we don't even have an open water yet. Like it's I was about building a snowman today with my son, almost March, and we probably still got, just depending, like I mean, winter can last a long time here, but it's probably gonna be like another month before we start seeing open water and can start fishing. And when I say that, I'm talking about waters in like the 30s and like slow, painful. Sometimes it'll be snowing on you type fishing. I mean.
Yeah, I mean I say down here that the season shouldn't almost started, but I mean that's just me being stubborn. It's nice to go catch different species, and I mean
right
when I get in the truck and it's 18 degrees, I don't necessarily say season started. I mean it's pretty crazy. And we were actually I fished Watts Bar this past weekend, pretty much one day, made some bad decisions, but a guy flipped on Saturday, and it was 40-degree water. Right, he wasn't fishing the tournament, but he flipped one of the new Hobie inflatables. Didn't have a life jacket on. Was stuck on an island, and luckily one of the guys. Didn't have a change of clothes, and luckily a guy that was fishing at the ramp with us, he changed of clothes and had a lighter, started him a fire, called a bass boat over. So yeah, you'd have thought he'd have caught 100 inches that day after he helped those people not die out there, but
right.
I don't think he got a bite either. So it was it's pretty tough. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, like it seemed like it was a tough event. I mean, 3 people caught a limit, and that was it. And obviously Ryan Lambert won, which it's I guess this is his year to be the the most disrespectful angler in kayak fishing, taking everyone's money and all the bragging rights that he's going to take advantage of.
It's you either like him or you hate him. That's what I tell people.
I haven't decided. I've had him on the show a few times.
Yeah, it's one of those things everyone asks. They're like, what's your opinions? And, it's you either like him or you hate him. And it's the people follow him that hate him. It's right. Always the catch, it's you love to hate somebody, so they still follow him. So it doesn't matter. But he's a good guy, and it was good to see him win. It makes the sport better when it's action packed, and it's fun that way. I mean, it was a tough tournament. You deserve it if you got on fish. I mean,
well, especially he kind of knows, like, talking to him, like he kind of knows, like, kind of what the sport needs to, like, people wanted to grow. Like Ryan's got a pretty good idea, like what needs to happen, like, like as far as like the entertainment value, the content being put out, the video, like, all the stuff that he does and wants to do. Like he kind of knows what he's doing. So, I mean, it's great that he can also win at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things that we need more content and stuff, and got your keyboard warriors, and luckily he backs it up. So
yes, he does.
If you want to talk to him about his tactics, you better beat him, because he's going to smoke you. Like, if you're ready to get roasted, then you keep feeding him. But he's a good guy, and I don't think we can have too many of them in the sport. But
no, it'd be insane. But
yeah.
All right, well, let's get into this. The Kayak Kushions. I see a lot of people. I talked to one of your boys, Jake, not too long ago. I see that Christine Fisher is I see a lot of people using them. I see a lot of people talking about them. I'm on board. I just haven't gotten it yet. It's weird that you forget, like when you get that money, when your wife allots you whatever your budget is going to be for fishing, it's like fishing lures, rods, fish finders. You never think about, like, midway through August, through the season or whatever, how uncomfortable your ass is, and your lower back hurts, and all these things, and you forget how important, like, comfort is. And it always dawns on me at the worst time, like, oh man, I really should, like, invest in something that's going to make this a little bit more comfortable throughout the days in and days out. And I'm curious, like, how you got into this. I mean, I can kind of figure. I imagine that you're a sports fan. You're at a college football game one day, and you brought your little seat. And then you remember, like, well, why don't I take this kayak fish with me? Because there's a reason why you use it in those hard-ass stadium seats. Why not use it in your kayak seat, right? Something like that?
I would love to say that's how it happened, but that actually wasn't it. I was on the water, fished. It kind of started right around the KBF, about 2016, I guess. And I just went up there, pre-fished all week, got on the water over the weekend. Sciatica, sitting in a boat, just lit you up. I mean, and it was before, obviously, rigid seats were so popular. I wasn't in a Hobie. I was in a different boat and didn't stand up, was miserable, back was on fire. So you're not even fishing at that point. You're moving. You're just casting. You're just throwing it in the wind and see what happens. So I had some ideas, and it's actually, everyone thinks, well, they used to. It's just the open cell foam, but it's not. It's a concoction of some patented technology that goes into it. So it'll fight against the funk out there, as I call it, antimicrobial. It's not waterproof or water resistant, which I had that when I was making this. I had made an option, but whenever it's the summertime, it would be 100 degrees. Guys would try. I had a couple boys try it. They got swamp ass from it. They're like, honestly, you're out there, or someone will say, man, I started itching. It was hot. And I was like, okay, well, if that happens, it's the same as any other cushion. Like, I had a guy saying a bunch of comments today, and he's like, I bet you it costs $1 to make it. And I was like, I've got over $1 of silver in just the cushion, like, to help fight against, whether it's fungus, mold, whatever. And so he didn't say a whole lot after that, but people think it's just another cushion. Well, it's not. There's a firm and there's an original. I'm a bigger guy. I like the firm. My wife, she uses original in her office chair, which a lot of people that don't even kayak fish use it in their office chair. Some guys just have it at sporting events and have me put their high school or their kids' logo, and they take it to soccer, football, basketball, baseball. So I mean and we have a new model that will come out that'll have more of a rounded shape, 18 inches at the top, 20 at the bottom. I have one on my boat right now. And that way someone can put it in their office chair, put it on the back, do whatever they want with it. But yeah, it was pretty much a 2-year process, being miserable on the water. Like, no one really has a product. People say gel. Well, gel causes pressure points.
Right.
Like the front part of your butt cheek can just be getting it just hurts, and then the back, and you're just doing this. So I was like, no, I'm not doing gel. And then memory foam collapses. The cheap cushions, you'll just sink in. So that's how it started. Started playing with it. What will make it firm up by putting more of this ingredient in it, or this ingredient to make it firm up, or be a little bit more of an original, which original was the first one. Obviously, firm came later. It's about a mix, though. A lot of people start with original and then buy firm, or people just buy two originals. I've started working with some outfitters. I just did 35 for Mariner Sales. They just got 35 going out with their logo on it. I don't know if it's been announced yet, but Torpedo, their whole team, Jeff Little ordered one for everybody. So it's got Torpedo on it. So, it's customizable. It's simple, but it's made here. It's quality. If something happens, you can reach out to me. More than happy to, if it's replacement. So it's not the solution by any means, but it helps. Right. If someone thinks this is going to be the cure, no, you still got to do some stretching. Right. Stand up. If you're just bad posture, it's like people saying, "How stable is that kayak?" Well, how stable are you standing? Like, yeah, can you walk and chew gum at the same time? If you can't,
stand on 1 foot. Yeah,
yeah. It doesn't matter if it's a PA 360 or a 9 foot tiny boat. So it's one of those, and so we've kind of got it dialed in. We feel like with a firm and an original, and I'm messing with something else, but it's kind of long story short, and went through a bunch of different prototypes, a bunch of straps, a bunch of sewing, and then landed on this model. Price point was able to be there. Had a male and a female buckle, as everyone's familiar with, like a belt that slid, was terrible. And then I went to a cam buckle, like you'd have on a strap, and people seem to like that. And now the newer ones, on the model that's behind me, the square, it will actually have a cross. It'll have a buckle, cam buckle, and a cam buckle, and it won't go anywhere. It's not going to budge on you. So some small things we're making, and then
a the buckle to go around the seat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll have two cam buckles on it, so that way it won't slide, and it'll be in a cross. This is an older one, but there'll be two on the back. So, yep. But lumbar is the biggest one that I get asked about. Right. I'm almost got it there, but I take my time. The backlash, as in this industry it'll drive you crazy. So
yeah, for a small industry, it's a loud one.
Yeah, that's the best description. Yeah. It is a loud one.
So how do you, we're both kind of, I imagine, we're grown men. We're in our 30s or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. How do you become a cushion guy? You know what I mean? How was it just something you're like, well, no one else is doing, I'm going to do it, or something you've always, how does one become the cushion guy?
Not at all. It's crazy. What's funny is it's similar to Jake that you had on. My background's in the same thing. And I did a lot of ergonomic stuff. We had the Volkswagen plant in Chattanooga, and that's what I went to school for, was ergonomics, posture, proper lift, all that stuff. Right. So if you're in the manufacturing, and kind of started there, some people get sciatica sitting down, or bad posture, or lifting incorrectly, locking, whatever that may be, out of shape, stuff like that. And that was kind of where it started, and obviously having a love for that and wanting to incorporate that and help people out. People think it's just about making money. Well, if that was the case, I'd be on Amazon right now. I tell people,
right.
They're like, "You're not on Amazon." Well, yeah, because I like the outfitters that sell boats, so you can go try the product. They support me. For example, could catch boards be on Amazon? You bet they could, and they would sell more than, but they choose not to. That's just how it works. So, that's the background. It wasn't being a cushion guy. Wasn't that at all. It was.
I just figured your childhood, like your dad was a cushion guy. And you
no, I know some people that have been in the industry and in the cushion industry, and they're like, "How did it come about?" And I was like, a miserable long weekend on the water, and started playing with it. And no, it's no. If you'd have told me this 5 years ago, no. It's pretty funny, and that's why I'm going to have keep Kayak Kushion, obviously, but our other product will be named something else, so people can do the office chairs. Buddy of mine, we do hunting They put it on their tree stands.
Yeah.
I mean, office chairs specifically, people really enjoy it because you can put whatever you want on it. You know, you can put Josh's chair, Josh's throne while he's in office so no one steals your stuff, whatever that may be. And then we do have the kayak cleaner, which is going to eventually be just a household name of like I've been playing with a name on it, but a lot of people like it because it's not like a sponge. It's similar material as the guts of this that go in the Kushion, but it's a little bit different recipe. You can scrub. It doesn't get the funky sponge stuff going on. So yeah, it's just playing with new products and, you know, taking my time to launch it. It's not the Kushion. It's not a generational hand down great grandpa thing. No. Good question though. I don't know if anyone's asked you, how'd you become the Kushion guy? You know,
I mean, just curious. I mean, like you're a pretty big guy. You don't look like you grew up in like a Kushion house.
Well, far from that. But no, it's accidental stuff, and that's some of the best intentions. You know?
To me, that's all life is. Like every 5 years, I'm like, how the hell did I get here?
You look up and you're like, what happened? Like,
what am I doing this?
Yeah. So that's that's the long story short, man. It was accidental, lucky, fun, something different, helps people out. If you get a testimony from somebody and they just said, man, this helped me out so much, my back was killing me. That's what it's about. It wasn't, people think it's for hobies. It wasn't an intention at all. It was actually the exact opposite. It was for someone that has a family and they bought some a little bit less expensive kayaks. They go out there and sit in that plastic for an hour. I don't care who you are. Just sit in kayak and you sit on plastic for an hour and it's hot out, you're going to hurt. So now they just sell the kayak. They just quit on it and they give up on it. And they go sit inside and get on cell phones and play video games or whatever. Whenever I made a product that maybe someone, you know, if I sold it to them for XYZ of dollars and they said, I enjoy this, it kept my family on the water. We went camping or fishing and I enjoyed time. Like, that's what it's about. That was what this whole sport started was, you know, if you couldn't get in a bass boat or something like that, you were able to take 2 fishing rods and go paddle around with your buddies and lie about the fish you caught or didn't catch. I mean, that's how it works. So yeah, man, it wasn't, people were like, it's for hobies only. I'm like, no, like it's not even close to only for hobies. So yeah, that was kind of the direction I started with, was pretty much recreational. It wasn't even for tournament fishing. It was, hey, how can we make a non-comfortable boat more enjoyable on the water, you know?
Well, how did you, like the early parts of it when you're like, all right, I got a good idea. Like, I'm tired of my back hurting. I'll create a Kushion, and then I'm gonna grab these guys, and I'm gonna like. Did you kind of have an idea like what you wanted to do? Because we all want to be different. Like, we all want to like. I'm not saying like we all want to be in the industry, but like when opportunity happens and you find your little niche, like, oh shit, here we go. You know, like what was it like trying to figure out what you really wanted out of this? Because I mean. I don't know a damn thing about Kushions. Like, I mean, like, if it wasn't for your product, I'd probably taking like my wife's couch pillow and putting it on my kayak or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of can start that way. Let's just be real. That's how you play with it. It's ugly, and everyone thinks it's the questions you get asked are. I mean, this one I've gotten asked quite a few times, but the first prototype I'm actually sitting on in my office right now. It has about 16 straps on it, and it costs me roughly about $40 to sew it. So that's just to sew. That's not the material. That's not the straps, the buckles, the insides of it, the stuff, like any of that, printing on it, nothing. Just me doing it, sewing it would cost me $40, and that was the time it took. And so obviously I dumbed it down significantly. That was the first thing. And there's a couple of guys that still have some original ones I'll see around there. I actually saw Lambert had one of the first ones. I had a prototype, first one ever didn't even screen print. I heat transferred it, and I had cut the buckles off of it with a utility blade. Just cut them off and said, "All right, let's try this one out there." And Till and Lowry had it on his boat from Ryan, and he liked that model, which is always that funny thing. Like, I didn't think anyone would like that one because it was different insert. That one was like probably like 3/4 of an inch thick. The new one is double that. It's 1.5 inches. So, you know, it's finding cutting straps off, putting straps on it, taking the handle off of it. So now the handle won't be on it. it'll be another cam buckle. It has an expense, but I've had some people say it can slide on them. It doesn't on me, but if I'm hearing that a couple times, let's look at it cost wise, making the change. If you're doing the same thing over and over, it's just it's going to get old. So color wise, I'll probably dumb down the colors. I've got 14 colors, so that's a lot.
How many colors are there? I thought there was only like
14 colors, man. So and then add in 2 models and then a lumbar. So it's it gets pretty crazy. Plus the custom ones, right? Printing the ones for shops or whatever it may be. So yeah, it's fun, but like people want to get into the industry or any type of industry. It doesn't have to be this one, but I mean, I'm trying to make fishing lures, paint lures. I've made lures. It's that
was kind of what I was trying to get at, like, because everybody, like, for instance, like people who make lures or make rods, it's like, I know they twist, I know they do painting, I know they'll do like the design, but it's not like, did you go out there, find a stone, beat it down, melt it, create your own lure? And I was wondering, like, when people are trying to get in the industry, like, what does it really mean? Like are you getting like these products, sewing it together, putting this,
yes,
like working with other people to bring in like the supplies, I guess, like the supplies, like you're like the initial part of trying to build something. With lures, it's easy because you got another company that will sell you a lure and you just do your little magic to it. But at the end of the day, it's like you're working with another lure company to make your own lure. Like, what's it like with the Cushing industry?
It comes in a humongous bun, cut it, die cut it,
got to do it yourself.
Put a recipe through it, press it, do all this stuff, cut the material that goes that lime green over my shoulder, cut it, make the zipper, cut the straps, sew the material, then I print it on it. So everyone that thinks it's a bunch of people, it's me. It's not. Yeah. I say we, you're looking at it, and this actually that's my front door right there, and they deliver it right there. Not the foam, obviously, but yeah, I mean, it's not. Someone goes, where do you get them from? I'm like, I make them. I seriously make them. Like, if you're making a fishing rod from a blank, you would do everything to it. You're not buying someone else's crankbait and putting, a feather on the back of it and calling it Smith's Topwater, you know, and that's how it works, man. It's trial and error. It was about 2.5 years before I even launched it. People started pushing me to launch it. Like, you got to get this out there. Like, work the kinks out later. And I was about 2 years. It was that long. It wasn't because, I mean, failing is part of this. If you're afraid to fail, and as an entrepreneur, you're in trouble. I mean, and like we talked about, this is a loud industry. It's insane. Like, someone's never even tried your product. It's like someone, hey, do you like sushi? No, I've never had it. I hate it. Oh, awesome. Thank you. You've never tried my product, but you hate it. It's that. And you just smile and you say, well, I hope you have a great day. There's no point in wasting your time arguing with somebody.
Well, here's another question. Like, I'm interested in this because, like, being in the military, a lot of my friends, they got out and they try to be entrepreneurs. Like one of my friends, he started making like like magazine pouches and backpack, whatever. And like his specialty was stitching and sewing. Yep. Like creating like those perfect stitches and things like that. Like, are those things that you got to worry about or figure out as you're doing something like this, like having that perfect stitch or having that? Yeah, because you're putting like your whatever, like like my product will last, my product will do this, or the things like that you had to figure out, like little like how do you make a perfect stitch, or how do you make a perfect? Well, you said something about the press, like pressing like the logos and stuff on it. There's all kind of little nicks that you got to figure out, right?
Yeah, I mean that's your buddy is exactly right. It's figuring it out, testing it. I mean, it's someone telling you, hey, try this, change this, but you can't listen to everybody. I mean, and he would say the same thing. It's figuring out how much is too much strap. Okay, do I double up on running this line sewing? Do I do a Z in it? Why am I adding 2 straps, another strap and a buckle here? I had people saying they're blowing it out. And I'm like, okay, well, there's some big dudes in this industry. I mean, and they're just, I mean, I'm a big guy, but it's like, I mean, they're rough on stuff. And it's like, okay, if it's happening to one guy, it's happening to someone else. So you you play with that. I mean, I changed buckles. New buckles are going to be black. They're nickel plated. Yeah, it's even more expensive, but it's, one bad thing can lead to terrible blowback. So it's playing with it, and I may go back to the other one. But yeah, it's exactly trial and error. There's no other way to put it. If you try it, you spend money. You spend money and you break even. If you break even for the day, I feel like it was a success.
Right.
That's how it works. So I mean, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, and I hope everyone tries
do they
it.
though? Do they? I mean, like, it's easy to say I want to be an entrepreneur. I've done a few. I've tried to be an entrepreneur in the past, and I know that it's not. The hardest part about it is the fear, like just being absolutely afraid of like you said, like a failure. Because like, I mean, depending on how you do it, like, I mean, if you got your 9 to 5 and you do it slowly and you're like, all right, I'm just going to test the water, see how things go. Or if you're one of those crazy guys, like, I'm just going to jump in and ask if there's sharks later, but I did it in that way. And I was like, it kind of bit me in the ass because for one, I didn't know what I was doing. Two, I went too big, too fast. And like, I learned a lot of brutal lessons. But the whole time I was terrified. Like every step of the way, like, am I really going to do this? Am I really putting all my eggs in this basket? Am I really going to try to, put this product out there and say that, hey, I'm the guy to talk to about this? There's a lot of like scary things about being an entrepreneur. And so when people say they want to do stuff like that, I'm like, do you really know what you're asking for? Like, this isn't like you're not the man right away at all.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I still have my, I don't say 9 to 5, but I do commission off of it. But I did that forever. I did the 40 here, 50 here, 50 here, 50 here, and kept doing it. Worked all night. I get orders in the morning. I'd wake up about 4:45, do orders, and then do my job. Right. At night, I would get on and make product. It just was a balancing act. And then the weekends, I was always making product. And then it was always something. And then, I'm in sales, thank God, because if anyone out there that listens to this is in sales, you've been told no. And if you haven't, you weren't in sales because you didn't sell anything. Because if you're not hearing no, you're not making any money selling anything. So, if someone says something bad about your product or they don't want to buy it, then you just wish them great. And have any questions, contact me. That's why I'd like to answer some questions. And outside of that, like you said, you have to fail. You're going to fail. Right. If you want to grow, you're going to fail, and it's fun. I mean, I'm sure it was fun for you. You try to run, but you should walk a little bit, and you got to slow down and figure it out.
Well, I think like one thing, and this is it's like just because you have a good idea doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Correct. Yeah.
Just because you think this is it, I have a great idea, doesn't mean that's the idea to have. And I'm sure like you've had that where it's like, this is the way these cushions should be, and it's like, God damn it, I got to change that up.
That's the perfect line. That's probably the best thing we've talked about yet is you think it's a good idea. Yeah. I think it's a good idea. 99% of the people out there do not think it's a good idea. So that's how it works. And so, I'll use a color, for example. It was like, oh, I bet you that color will be a good idea. And then I've got 50 of them sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I've got this much in material, this much in my time. Okay, I'm not doing that again. And then so what happens? You sell out of it, and then people are like, when are you bringing that back? And you're just like, okay, so it was a good idea. And then you do it, and then it doesn't sell again. I mean, it's that process. And then, like I said, the one I'm sitting on right now was the first one ever made. And it's got 8 buckles on it, and it's got that many straps. It's 2 pieces. I mean, it was just crazy. It was a Frankenstein. I thought it was the best idea you've ever seen. And it would cost you at retail, it'd be about $150 cushion. And that's me making probably $10 off of it. And so it was like, it would blow your mind to see some of the ideas, and you start drawing them up, and then you erase it. I mean, it's right. I hope everyone tries it and tries something out. And what's the worst that can happen, honestly? And in this industry, someone says, oh, that's a dumb idea. Well, I've had a lot of those. So,
well, I think like the entrepreneur thing, it's like there's like so much like that you got to be like mentally prepared for. Like, like you said, like you got to understand that like not every idea is the best idea, and then you got to be flexible. And you gotta you gotta be able to know when like to abandon something and to start work and go back to the drawing board. You got to realize when that maybe this whole thing was a disaster and it's time to rebuild. There's just so like not only do you gotta be like courageous, you gotta be like you got to be humble. You got to have the ability to like, all right, this didn't work out. It's okay. Doesn't mean it's over. It just means that we got to change shit up, and things like that. Like, there's so much that goes into it. Like when you're trying to get into an industry and you're trying to build something that like, like, that initial, when you're all excited at the beginning, like when I started this podcast and I thought I knew what I was going to do. And then like the first 2 episodes, I were like, well, that sucked. I've really got to change this shit up, these things that I thought were going to be good. And then like, I realized, like something I put a lot of effort into it. I was passionate about it. And then all of a sudden I realized, man, I got to put some gasoline, burn that shit, and go rebuild and do it over again. But that's like the mind frame you got to have, because I don't know what success is. I'm still trying to figure out what success is for doing something I do. But it's like, but that's what we're working towards. And it's not like a job like going into the Army or going into the work at a plant where like success is already kind of like there's a road that you follow, and there's choices that you make, and at the end you get your check, you get your your raise, or you get your medal, or you get whatever. There's none of that when you're out here like trying to be like an entrepreneur or run a podcast or a YouTube channel. There's no manuals really to it. There's obviously there's guys who are trying to make thousands of dollars say read my book about how to be a successful entrepreneur. But that's I'm not buying that guy's book. But it's like all these things that happen. All these things that you don't know what to do, and so you got to have like these. Got to be brave. You got to be humble. You got to be. You got to know when to accept defeat, but not be defeated. There's all these things that you got to do, and it's terrifying, but it's fun at the same time, because what you're doing is yours. Like this is my work. This is my progress. I'm not doing this for anyone else but me. There's no bosses here. I am my own boss. There's all these benefits, but you got to like be willing to I guess live that way and have that certain mindset to be able to stay within that those in that way of life.
Oh yeah, I mean that's exactly how it is. I mean, there's not you don't want to work today. Well, tough. Like that's what people don't realize. There's
no sick pay.
There's okay. Well, I guess you're not eating or you're not paying your bills today. I mean, it's literally all the time, and you either love that and that's for you, or you want to go punch the clock all the time and just, 9 o'clock start, 5 o'clock, I don't worry about work ever again. And that's great. I mean, more power to you. Like I've done it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not for me. It's not, if it's not mind stimulating, if it's not, making you think and stress and anxious and, satisfying when, Josh says, man, I enjoyed that. I'd like to buy another one for my dad. And he doesn't even kayak fish, but he liked the product and he's going to use it while he, sits around the house and watches football. Man, that's great. That was the whole point, was someone gets to enjoy the product. It doesn't mean you go fish every trail across the country in a kayak, all the time. That wasn't the intention with it, but it is a product that people enjoy that way. And I've had my backlash. It's and that's part of it. I mean, it's funny, and you just laugh, and you become not thick-skinned, but you smile and you worry about what you can. And you're right, man. You do fail. You are going to worry. You're going to stress. You like the podcast. I mean, look at the Egg Zone and Rogue Fishing. I mean, look at those two. I mean, those are monsters. And it's, if you probably told you that whenever you first started your podcast, there's no way. I want that, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
No one's going to want to be a sponsor or work with me in this. Like, I just want to talk to some guys I like in the industry and learn about it.
Well, there's even things like I've had to accept, like especially with the podcast, like if I'm going to do it the way I want to, I had, watching like some of the other podcasts and like watching their success and then trying to base what my success should be off theirs. I'm like, well, those guys don't drink beer and curse on their show, so they're going to get different people. Going to be interested in them, and you got to wait for, and that's been like one of the things I've had to wait for. It's like you got to wait for someone who likes what you do and appreciates what you do, and you can't really base your success off what everyone else is doing, because this is yours. And so you got to accept the good with the bad, and sometimes the bad means that like dude, if you don't change the way you do things, then you're not going to get this. But you got to be okay with that. If that's not what you really want. And that's, that's been like some of the growing, curves I've had to deal with the podcast. It's like, look, Josh, you like to drink beer and curse, and you may not get the sponsors you want, or you may not get the interest, but the listeners you get absolutely love it. And those are the ones who are eventually going to bring you sponsors or bring you. That is your success, or the people that buy into, whether it's your podcast or your product, like that culture, that community that you build. That's the success right there. That's where the success breeds from. Because without that, I'm just an idiot on a microphone, or you're just some guy who knows how to sew and you're the Kushion guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. It's not that one's for just one or something's for the other. It doesn't. That's what I tell them. It's not just for one lane or one zone. Like it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, yeah, there's a ton of podcasts out there, but I mean, I'll drive out. How often are you on the road, like traveling to these? I mean, I listen. I have headphones in when I'm on the water. I don't know if that's frowned upon to a bunch of people, but I mean, why not? I mean, I love the outdoors, but why can't I listen to something or whatever that may be? Or, you answer the phone or, I know I heard Ryan, I think he was on yours or somebody's show, and he was, he's on Facebook as he pedals. I mean, it's, I mean, there's no right or wrong thing to do here. I mean, you respect the industry and you have a different view on it, or everyone's going to watch it. It's a content game. It's
right.
Figure it out. It doesn't mean that one's better, one's worse. It's just they're all different. But you get the same people. It's all the same people still watching. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They say they don't. They'll tell you. They'll comment on here and say they didn't watch it, but the only way they knew what they did is because they watched it. That's
my favorite part is in the comment section when someone says something bad. That's why I made a big joke about it. I asked people to leave me disrespectful comments because it's like, dude, like you watched my show and you took the time to go say something bad about it. Dude, that's success. I got your attention. And now you're going to probably come back to see if I'm going to respond to that. And I did just to entertain you because I want to keep you here and show you who the real fool is sometimes.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that they're wrong either.
My show absolutely sucks. There's someone out there who absolutely thinks my show sucks, and when you break it down, my show does suck to certain people, and that's just the reality that you got to live in. I'm sure you got to deal with that with your cushions too. It's like your cushions suck to that people, but there's a lot of people who love your cushions. I mean,
exactly, man, and that's my thing. But they're always going to want to know why, or it's not necessarily a jealousy thing. It's people just love to hate. It's keyboard. It's keyboard warriors. They love to hear their opinion. Like they feel like their opinion is the most important opinion on the planet. And it's like, do you know what it looks like when it was that important for you to say that? Like it was important for you to get that off your chest. For one, I'm glad I could help you out because obviously that shit was bugging you. But still, it's the fact that it was that important for you to say. And especially when they put in some insults in there. It's like, okay, I mean, yeah, I mean, and they would say something about your room right now, or say something about mine right now, and and that doesn't mean they're wrong. It doesn't mean they're right, but it doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and just bash them for no reason. I mean, it's called having a conversation or some fun. It's not hatred. It's just like, hey, I don't really like your show, but I dislike it so much. I watch it. Like I do that. There's shows like that with me or something. Like I dislike that something so much. Let's say it's a fishing lure company, and I just truly can't stand this person or this lure. But you're checking it every day or on the weekends. Like it's like you're just going back to those statuses. It's that catch, and it's fun. I mean, there's a podcast on this end of the spectrum and on this end, and then. There's this kayak bass thing and there's this kayak bass thing. It's fun. It needs to be that way.
It does. Like I mean, the truth is we're all just bored, just trying to find ways to entertain ourselves until we die. So
I mean, it's how do you go get outside and drink beer and travel the country? That's all it's boiled down to a lot of people.
That's all we really want to do.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's from Florida, he's from Cali, he's from New York, he's from Alabama, he's from and they're all sitting around enjoying the same things,
right?
All on different boats, all represent different. But I mean, that's the whole fun part of it. You know, it's all fun and games. It's not a it's not a contest. Everybody can have success in what we're doing. So yeah.
So a few more things. I'll let you get out of
Yeah.
here. And I know you're obviously a busy guy, but so getting that feedback, like what was that like? Like, did you have like specific people that you wanted to choose? Because I mean, I imagine like you want to get like a variety of people. How'd you go about choosing it? And especially our community, like the kayak community is pretty tight, and like you're in Tennessee, so you're in like the mecca of kayak anglers. I mean, like you got Ryan Lambert, Christine Fisher, Russ Snyder, Adam Rock, whatever. I'm not gonna name all the people that live in Tennessee, but there's a lot of you. Like, what was it like trying to decide like who you're gonna get to go and test these things? Did you pick the big, sweaty, smelly guy? Did you pick the nice, petite person? Like what was it like? What were you really trying to figure out?
Man, I was trying to figure out at first the thickness. If you really want to be honest, so. Okay, let's get someone of my size. Let's get someone that weighs 105 pounds. Let's get someone that is in between. Let's get someone that has kids and they want to try it with their kid. Like, people turn a single boat into a tandem. Okay, let's have him sit on the front whale or in the back whale and sit on it. That weighs 55 pounds. Hey, they take their dog. Does their dog lay on that thing all day? And it really kind of started that way. It was, okay, recreational people. The first 20 went out to them. Like, okay, I fish on the weekends. Hey, I fish grassroots. Hey, I go fish KDF. This was before Hobie. And so let's get one into some of those hands. And then, all right, now let's start picking people that put in some serious boat time. Right. So there's your Ryan, there's your Christine. There's a couple examples of people that were around here where I was able just to drop them off. I mean, it was just a side project. I didn't want to pay shipping $20, $25. I mean, it adds up. It's not one of those things. And so our local trail, I got one to Steve Owens to try since he's so close, and it kind of gained some ground. Some people wanted to try it that were friends with them or they saw it and went that direction. And and now I've got a couple of people. I'm not a big pro staff guy. I don't like the terminology. It's kind of a joke, obviously, but it's a great too. I just don't really. I call it Kushion cronies. It's some guys that get cushions from me, but they represent it, or girls, and they take some pictures and tag us. If they do, great. But they like the product, they represent it. It's not like just one of those things. And I've got a few of those, and it hasn't been my biggest priority to keep adding on it. I'd rather make new product, but I've got some good ones on there, and they're straightforward, and that's how it is. I'm not trying to. People think I pay people for responses, buddy. I wish I had that type of money. I mean, that was. I wish I would love. I'm talking to Josh Smith on Dark Waters right now. Both of us talking about entrepreneurship. So yeah. I wish I did, but luckily I can say blessed to have people that really have liked it, and they support shopping local. They like that it's made in the States. I could have sent the sewing out, and I did one time. My first couple models, I tried it. I sent it to another country that does cheap labor, and I came back, and it was already falling apart from shipping across on the boat. Oh, man. It was like the sewing was coming apart from how rough the waters were coming across the Atlantic. So, that's how it went. So, and picking people is just, I really like doing stuff with one of the first charities I ever gave a cushion to was, it's coming up here soon. I'm making a custom one for him they give dogs to, veterans that come back from, the war and stuff. And it's an awesome charity. And I wasn't making any money doing this, still not really. And it was, hey, yeah, man, of course I'll donate. They give dogs and lifetime dog food and shots for guys that come back for fighting a war. So I go fishing on the weekend. So yeah, I know you said you're a vet, and it's stuff like that's fun, man. It's giving back and trying to help out, and so just different stuff. It's fun hearing the success stories and seeing kids fishing, and I wish this was around whenever I was a teenager. I mean, it wasn't like I wish you either bass boat fished which I did some, but I mean, I didn't have a boat when I was that age. And so it's cheesy, but it is about trying to give back in this industry. It's not just, let's try to make as much money as fast as we can, because that doesn't work. And
it doesn't work out in the long run, that's for sure.
No. And so that's how it is, man. Picking people was, hey, these people got good reputations. They're not, whether you've got one on like this end or one on this end, one may run their mouth a little more and one may not, but really.
Basically still good people,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. There's no point in saying anything else other than that. But yeah, it's you want people to try your product and tell you honesty, and that's why I picked some of those people. Was who I'm talking about? He'd tell you what he thinks, and you need that. And then you have someone that's like on the other side, and that's what happened from choosing it. Was just weekend warrior, recreational, and the people I have now are. I'll have more going down the road, but it seems like decent people, and it's not a pro stat. Like, I just try not to. It's great and all, and I call, like I said, it's Kushion cronies, and it's, hey, take some pictures, catch some fish, and have a good time. I'm not trying to get you to just keep down people's throats, or fishing lure companies, when someone catches it on this and then they put another lure in that mouth and say they used this to catch that fish. And some people don't think that happens. I'm like, I've seen it. I know.
Yeah, that happens all. I've been part of it. I've done it before. So.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, I caught that on a Ned rig. No, you didn't. I watched you catch on a shaky head. It wasn't even the same brand. So it's that fun stuff. And it's stuff like, this podcast and all this that keeps people to get a personality with what the product is and learn more about, what's going on in the sport or what's to come. Or, I mean, if I would have known that there was going to be fantasy kayak fishing 5 years ago, I would have laughed you out of this place. I never would have guessed, like, no one would. There's no way no one would have guessed that. Like, that's, right. And I still don't believe it. I just like, there's no way. There's just, that it can't be a real thing. And they're like, oh, it's real. People follow it. I'm like, man, I struggle to follow like MLF. I'm sorry. I just don't really follow. I don't pick a team. Maybe it would be a better application for it. But if you'd have told me that, I would never would have believed you.
Right.
And it's great. I think that's very cool that people are doing that. But it's, that's how the industry in 5 years. I mean, it's insane. I would never have guessed it.
So what are you thinking? Like, what's next for you? What's up? We'll end it on this, dude. Brandon, what's up? What's next for obviously the Kushions, and what's next for you going into 2021?
New model, the rounded back. That's going to be the new one. There's a couple of guys out there that's got one that's kind of floating around. And Nicholas Beltran in Florida, he fished with Hoover this past weekend. He's got one. He's got a new model. He wanted it, was excited about it. And when someone's that excited, I'm like, sure, man, like, let's do it. Let's put your stuff on it and let's get something going, and great angler, entertaining guy to follow. That's it. But the lumbar, man, I'm working on it, trying it. Be on the lookout for it. It's probably going to be called Kushion Cube. Keep this cliche thing going. And that's one I've got a prototype I used this past weekend. And you ask how I got into this, it's duct taped together right now. So if everyone thinks it's all pretty and fun, I mean, my wife laughed at me. It has 6 pieces of duct tape wrapped around it. So, it's trialed and tested if it's made by a kayaker for kayakers. But the lumbar I'm really excited about, because I feel like a lot of people are like me. I fish upright. I'm not one of those casual fishermen, and I'm not standing all the time. So I really like to have up on my edge. So that's next. Other than that, man, I'm just trying to get through this year and get out of this pandemic. That's the I'm over it, and I hope everyone gets healthy and no more deaths. Or I'm just ready for. I'm a very social guy. I like to do things, and this is just driving me crazy. But if it's saving lives for me not to be out, then I don't. Older people. That's just I don't wish that upon anybody. So I won't be selfish this time. So yeah, that's me. I hope to fish a little bit more this year and travel around, but try to get out there and see some new outfitters, meet some new people. Obviously met you, and do some things like that. But stay busy. Keep making custom cushions for people. Got quite a list of them that keep adding up here. So that's hopefully one day I'll have some employees other than myself. But
that's shit, right? That's the goal.
That's hopefully. But let's that's how it is, and keep watching the sport grow, keep following stuff, and and hopefully we'll do another one together and have the new products on and talk some more, maybe get some more people on here.
Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. Is there anyone you want to thank that makes this shit easier for you, whether fishing or the company? But this is your time to do. It's your chance to thank people, put in your plugs where people can follow you. If you want, whatever. This is your chance.
Yeah.
It's your time.
Yeah. So obviously we're on Instagram. It's Kayak Kushion. We have a new page that we'll be launching. That's Kushion Kompany with obviously K's on both of those. I want to thank everyone from the beginning on this. I mean, the Kushion cronies, but as I call them, the Kushion community, anyone that's bought one. The people that haven't, I appreciate y'all interested in it too. Even the compliments and the hatred, and people that haven't tried it, you always respect that. And so, I hope everyone gets out on the water, spends more time, get out of the house. That's the goal. I mean, I wish I was out fishing right now, but it's just like everybody in our industry. That's the recreational, the people that just fish and don't paddle for fun anymore. But I do them both, and I'm sick of brand bashing. If you really want to be honest with you, I wish we could kind of get out of the brand bashing game. But it's fun too for people. So it's just don't knock if you ain't tried it. That's all. It's kind of my philosophy on this. So yeah, I'm thankful for obviously someone like you that's takes time out of working and does these podcasts for small business owners and guys just trying to make it. So yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Good luck with 2021. I'm sure we'll talk again. We got the giveaway. Anyone who's listening to this, check my Instagram, check his Instagram. It's on there. But we'll have a winner who gets a free cushion by Friday. So can't thank you enough, man. I'll talk to you again soon. All right.
Yeah, man. Take care.